guys, welcome back to another adventure. Today I'm out here in Newport, Washington, checking out the town. So, waiting for a few of you to show up if you're here. We're gonna be live today, and we'll go live exploring. Hopefully today's stream works out a little bit better here. Seems like I have pretty solid reception here in the center of town. So we'll see what happens today. Anyways, we can go ahead and get started here. I'm here at this little park. And it's pretty neat. I'm not quite sure what this park's name is here in Newport, Washington. But there's got this little water feature here, which is really neat. Well, we can see downtown Newport here. Got a lot of old structures that we could take a gander at. Walk through downtown here. Most of these should have historic placards on them because they are on the registry here. We're right next to the post office right here, and the fancy PUD building's right there. You can see that. But we could take a walk down this way and check out the town. I guess we're all the way out. Of course, if I had actual buttons, I'd have to take the cover off of this phone to use it in the mount. Because as we experienced in a couple of the live streams before, it likes to pop out of the mount when the cover's on it, so it makes my buttons all unusable here. But pretty cool buildings so far there on the other side. We got a barber shop there. So got a little internet building here. Library. And then the theater there on that side. And we're walking in front of this place that says Newport Ambulance. But they've got some really cool antique cars in here. It's a Pontiac there. Got an old Chevrolet here. Another old Chevy. It's the Super Sport one. I'm not sure. I think that's a Chevelle. I'm not sure. Got an old Galaxy in here. Looks like it's getting restored too. Got some stuff getting worked on in there. Pretty cool. Oh, looks like we got some more stuff here. An orange Studebaker. That's cool. Caddy next to it here. And I'm not sure what this guy is here. If anybody knows, let me know. That's a cool looking car. I'm not sure what it is though. Got the Cooper building, which looks like it's gotten a facade upgrade here. The escrow company building. Welcome to the back porch. Looks like an antique store here. Of course, it's closed because it's Sunday and half of everything is closed. So we made it one block down here. On the next block, we've got the city hall there. So got a couple saloons across the street. Got this big brick building here in front of us there, which is pretty cool. That's a neat looking city hall building there. I'm guessing that's early 1900s. The city of Newport was established in 1903, so it's been here for a while. So I'm guessing most of these buildings are going to be early 1900s to about 1910, 1915. So we'll get to see that down here. We turn to look at this here. At this building is the Martin building, and it was built in 1909. So some of these will have the dates on top of them. We'll be able to see it. I haven't ran across any placards yet on these buildings, but pretty cool nonetheless. You can tell it's early 1900s. I think they started using brick on buildings in the early 1900s and 1910s. So before that, they were mainly wood structures. There's a little bar across the street there. We got a furniture store in front of us here. fake shingle. It looks like it looks like plastic that's made to look like wood shingle. Interesting. Got this blue building here. It's got a date on it. The Reed building, built in 1907. Part of the furniture store there. Got a pizza parlor here. Another salon. A bunch of haircut places here. I've already passed like 4. Newport Pizza, which seems to have, according to Google, it seems to have pretty good reviews. Have yet to try it. Being the pizza connoisseur, I have. There's a few places I haven't tried yet. We're off to the next block here. Across the street from us is the Beaubier building, built 1912. Pretty cool. You can see that side of the block there. So I'm guessing they must have started town like that way and built this a ways down here. So it looks like everything up from us was earlier. So they got like an insurance place here, but this building is the Johnson building, and it was built in 1917, as you can see up there. There's like a little bit of a gap here in between these. So we can see that this building must have been built afterwards. But this one doesn't have a date on it, unfortunately, up there. And nothing down here to tell us about it either, so. See some of the old, like, stucco stuff on the underside of this awning on the building. That's interesting. This one has some kind of a name on it. Lund. So this is the Lund building here. No date. I can't see it. If it has one, it's obscured. And again, nothing down here to tell us. An antique shop. I like that. Like that antique sign. Made it look like an antique. That's cool. And a bunch of cool stuff in here. Wow, that's cool. Interesting place. Might have to check it out sometime. And if you're ever here, feel free to check it out too. Yet another antique store, unless this is a part of the other one there. That looks like an art gallery here. Then we're down at the end of the block here. Owen's Grocery. Grocery, deli, and fountain, established 1938. So nice little independent grocer down here at the end of this. So we're down at the end of this block here. This way goes towards Spokane. This is actually Highway 2 over here. And across the street from us is the Pend Oreille County Historical Museum. It's the old railroad depot of, I believe, Milwaukee's. I think it was Milwaukee Road's old railroad depot for up here. But I believe that this was like a sub company of Milwaukee that Milwaukee owned up here. So it's ran by, it's got I think the Pend Oreille Valley Railroad owns this now, or at least the tracks behind here. But this is cool. I'm not sure if it's open. I don't think it is, being it's Sunday and it's 5 o'clock. So I'm sure that this is probably not open. But we can go take a look over here at some of the things out in the pavilion area and stuff that we can see open. So we'll go ahead and we'll cross the street here. We'll just wait for traffic to hold up. Be interested to know what they actually have here at this place. Unfortunately, it's not open, so we can't tell. Well, it looks like the traffic has died down a little bit, so got a gap to walk across the street. Since we're over here, you can get a good look at the other side. There's where we came from, way up there. There's all of these cool buildings here. I think we'll save this. Well, I guess we're probably going to end up having to walk across here anyway to get a good shot of these buildings on this side. So we'll walk across. Looks like everything's clear. So here is a couple buildings on the back side of here. If you're just joining me, I'm in Newport, Washington today. taking a look at the old buildings here in the center of downtown. And if you missed the beginning, go and check out the beginning here after we're done, if you're still here, and you can see what buildings we've already checked out, because we've walked all the way down this street. This is like the backside here. So Highway 2 runs in front of us here. It used to run completely up on this side of the boulevard. So instead of what now is the one way, this used to be split in the center there, and traffic used to run both ways. So pretty cool. Then when they expanded this out, because this is still kind of growing up here, they decided that they needed to split this off and run one direction up on the other side of here, and one way coming down this way. But we can walk this direction next to the museum, which we'll check out here in a minute. I'm pretty sure that this is closed today, but we can check out the stuff here. There's some cool stuff here we can check out. I want to take you guys over to the side of here. This building here in the center, it has a centennial mural on the side of it. I saw kind of part of it there when I was back a little ways. No idea when this building was built. They usually have the date stamped on top, but this one doesn't have one again. This is Kelly's Restaurant Lounge here. It says established in 1894. Don't know if this is the building itself was established in 1894 or this company itself. So I'm sure somebody probably knows, but if you do, let me know in the comments. So I guess the museum was open today. Of course, it's already closed. It was only open for 3 hours today. So eventually we'll have to come back and get a tour of this railroad museum, because it looks pretty cool. They've got a lot of lines in here. I'm not sure which ones are still fairly active. You can see down there, this line runs right next to the depot. So this is probably the main. And that main looks pretty, this spur looks pretty jank. The iron down there is all kind of wobbly. That has to be fun, running things in here. I guess it wouldn't be too bad at low speeds, because I'm sure that's what you had to run, but I don't think I'd want to go too fast on that, because that's got some wobbles for sure. As you can see, this way here, aiming towards Idaho, because we're like basically right underneath of that bridge there is Idaho. So we're like 600 feet 700 feet from Idaho right now. But you could see a bunch of spurs off here. I think this one over here is the one that goes up to Medellin Falls to Canada, but it terminates at Medellin Falls because there was no sense after a while. They were only running up to Medellin Falls, and then after all the mills shut down in Ione, they kind of rescinded from the area here. But the line up to Medellin Falls is still intact. It's kind of fallen into disuse right now because there's nothing being run clear up to Medellin Falls anymore. They used to have the tour train up there that is no longer there. But I think they still have the tour train from here, but I don't know if they're even doing that anymore over here. So railroading kind of pretty thin up here now. Anyways, we'll walk across the street here and I'll show you the back side of this boulevard. Looks like we're good to cross. So I'm sure you guys missed my conversation here, but ahead of us right there, underneath of that bridge, is Idaho. So the town of Newport sits like right up next to the Idaho line. So we're right on the border. So here's the back side of the boulevard there. Not terribly too many old buildings on this side of the boulevard. Yeah, pretty much there. So as I was saying too, this track has a diverging point here, and I'm pretty sure that this little spur that goes off this a ways here, I'm pretty sure that one runs to Medellin Falls, but not much is going on up there anymore, so I'm sure it's still there, but it's not being used at the moment in time because there's no tour trains or anything running on it. But the Ponderay Valley Railroad still, I think, owns this line. But we're gonna walk back here to the museum and we'll check out the outside of this museum here. What we can see, there is a fair amount of cool stuff sitting outside that we can take a look at. It'll give us an idea of what used to go on up here back in the old days. As you can see, there's a mural on the back side of this. On the opposite side of this one, it says Newport, Washington, established in 1898. Even though the benches say 1903, it must have been when it was first established here. It was 1898, and it probably was incorporated in 1903. Yeah, it's a pretty nice little community. Small town. I think this is around a couple thousand people here live up here. It's kind of a hub. Like I say, Idaho's like right on the other side of there. So you get the gas over here on this side that's like $4.50, and you go across the bridge over on the other side there and it's $4.15. You know where I went? Idaho for gas. All right. So we can read about this guy here. There's a little sign. It's a coreless steam engine. And it says in parentheses, the big wheel, which I'm guessing is this thing. And of course, no climbing on the big wheel. I will go around the side here and read the sign. All right, so the coreless steam engine here to my left is 478 horsepower, 22-inch cylinder and 42-inch stroke, 120 pounds psi steam pressure, 63,000 pounds in weight. Wheel diameters were 16 feet, 100 RPM, 42-inch face, and 20,000 pounds in weight on those wheels. And the big wheel was manufactured by Alice Chambers in 1909 and moved to Newport by the Fidelity Lumber Company. It was in continuous service for 55 years, cutting over 1 billion board feet of lumber. In 1964, the engine was donated to the Newport JCs by the Diamond National Corporation to preserve a part of a passing era that the Newport. There's a period there. Okay. In 1964, the engine was donated to the Newport JCs by the Diamond National Corporation to preserve a part of a passing era. The Newport JCs then moved and erected the engine at this site. It was dedicated by Governor Daniel J. Evans, June 14th, 1965, and presented to the city of Newport. It's also a little guy here. And here is the Newport Railroad Depot. I guess it used to house the Stinson Lumber Company's offices here at one point. Maybe it still does. I'm not sure. But I guess this was actually the Great Northern Railroad's depot here. So Great Northern had a line here. So I guess the main line is Great Northern, which is today BNSF. So the spur line from here that goes up to Newport was Milwaukee Roads. So that's what that was. So Great Northern built this depot in 1910, and it's been here since then. Got the sign to it there. Probably been repainted here at some point in the past however many years. And you can see people would wait for the train here and it'd stop and people would load onto the train here and go to Spokane and go to Idaho, Montana, or whatever on the Great Northern Line here, because it runs all the way across the country that ways. Yeah, it's pretty cool when they keep them in shape like they do here. I'm sure that being a historical monument, that they got to keep it in good condition. I think there was a little thing here we could view something over here I saw. I think about as good as we're going to get, as close as we're going to get to going inside is looking through the fence here. I guess this is a memorial for Rod Owen here. Talks about he will be remembered for being among the most compassionate and caring people in the rich history of the community here. Their hours of service and goodwill to those in need will be treasured forever. We are blessed that past generations have been touched by this family, and that future generations of the Owens family will continue to serve as role models for our children. Thank you, Owen family, for helping develop and define the small town spirit that is Newport. Ah, cool. So right here is Newport's town drinking fountain. It says, Newport's drinking fountain, serving man, beast, and dog for 3 generations, erected by Ladies Civic Improvement Club, September 14th, 1911. It came from Illinois. Really cool. See the basin where the water used to sit in here. I have no clue what's up in there. It's dark. That's pretty cool. Here's more of the old railroad buildings here. I guess this was the IW&N depot that was built in 1908. And of course, it's closed. It closed at 4 o'clock today. So unfortunately, we can't go any further into here. But they've got a bunch of cool stuff in here to look at. We'll have to make a return trip and check it out and film it for you guys so you can see what it's like inside of here. I'm sure it's pretty cool. They've got a lot of old stuff. We can take a walk along the highway here because I think they have a walking path that goes like right in front of this, and we could kind of see some of the stuff they got stored in here. We'll head back up this direction first because I think there was another sign inside of this little gazebo here to read. If not, then we'll just continue walking. Oh, this little thing says, the clock in this tower has been purchased and maintained by the generous support of Sopronimus International of Newport, Washington. Don't know what that is. Check that out. That's cool. A little fire lookout there. Got trains and some fishes and a moose. Oh yeah, we got some signs in here. Boy, I don't know if you guys can see that too well. A lot of glare from everything here. But here's a picture of the depot in 1912. This is the, I guess we can see both of them here. This is the Great Northern Depot there. And then you can see the IW&N depot there back behind the water tower. They got a steam engine hauling some stuff there. And we can see part of the main drag here through town, which is cool. We can read the plaque too while we're standing here. It says, railroads played a prominent part of the history of Newport and Pend Oreille County. The Great Northern Railroad reached Newport in 1892. 15 years later, the Idaho and Washington Northern Railroad was completed. In the foreground of the picture are the railroad tracks, water tower, and depot of the Great Northern Railroad, and the tracks and depot of the Idaho and Washington Northern Railroad. The Great Northern Depot was built in 1910, and it later became the Burlington Northern Depot, and today is the Stinson Lumber Company district office. So there's my answer there. It is currently the Stinson Lumber Company's office. The Idaho and Washington Northern Depot was built in 1908 and later became the Milwaukee Railroad Depot, and since 1979 has been the home of the Pend Oreille County Historical Society Museum. Across the street is Kelly's Tavern, built by John Coach in 1894. It is considered to be the second oldest tavern in the state of Washington. The two-story brick building next to the tavern was built in 1906 by T.J. Kelly, who ran a general merchandise store. Over the years, what did it say? I lost it there. I was trying to look at the picture. Over the years, other businesses have occupied the building, and in 1926, the IOOF Lodge was purchased the building. It is now Club Energy. In 1898, T.J. Kelly built a small merchandise store that is now part of Sieber's Pharmacy. The building has had a fire and had been remodeled many times. We'll go on this side now that we're here. T.J. Kelly was a prominent businessman and first mayor of Newport. Across Washington Avenue in the brick building is Owens Grocery and Deli. The Owens family has operated it since 1938. It was the first brick building in Newport and was built by Dr. Sutherland in 1903. So there's our answer about the Owens Grocery over here. So that has been here since 1903 and was the first brick building here in Newport. All right, so carrying on. He owned and operated the Newport Trading Company that was known as the largest department store north of Spokane. Over the years, it has housed a variety of businesses. In the early years, several local brick factories produced bricks for many of the business buildings and some residences in Newport. The three-story white building at the top of the hill was the well-known cottage house owned and operated by Mrs. Jessie Fee Cass Scott. The 23-room boarding house and hotel built in 1904 catered to many people over the years. Mrs. Scott was known for her hospitality and delicious meals. Lois Davenport, the owner of the Davenport Hotel of Spokane, and other prominent businessmen would come to Newport to eat at the cottage house. Several streets in Newport are named after her, and the Pend Oreille County Courthouse rests on the land that she donated. The site is now Sewell Engineering Company. So I'm guessing that was this one, like way up here. Interesting. Here's a photo from 1900. I love the way they blew up these photos. It's pretty cool. Hey, Brian. So reading this sign, small community of Newport, Idaho was platted in 1893 and served as a river port for the steamers operating between Albany Falls and Box Canyon. It was located on the banks of the Pend Oreille River near the western approach of present-day Interstate Bridge. The business part of town included public docks, a general store, post office, dry goods store, hotels, and several saloons. The log building in the foreground of the picture was George C. and Rosita Towley General Store. It was located close to the site of present-day bowling alley. In 1893, Rosita I. Towle was appointed postmaster, and a small post office was added to the store. Later in 1900, Towle became the first postmaster in the new town of Newport, Washington. This talks about the Kalispell Indian canoe here. In the foreground is the unique Kalispell Indian canoe with two unknown young boys on the Pend Oreille River. The canoes were about 16 feet long, made with an internal cedar frame and covered with a sheathing of pine bark. They had a distinctive turned-down end that helped protect the canoe from gusty winds and made it easier to handle in swift currents. The canoe was very light, easily paddled, and capable of carrying considerable weight. The canoe was a prized possession of each Indian family and played a crucial role in their lives. The Kalispell Indian tribe was a small, isolated, semi-nomadic tribe living in peace with nature and neighboring tribes. Their home base was along the Pend Oreille River, where they had winter camps. They lived according to the seasons, gathering berries, digging camas, fishing and hunting. They traveled over trails to Kettle Falls, where they fished for salmon, and sometimes to the Midwest for buffalo hunts. They spoke a Salish language. Over here, we got the early days of the steamboats here. So you can see some of the steamboats on the river here. That is, if you guys can see this very well. I'm not sure how well you can. I'll make sure I take some pictures here when we're done. But anyways, early days of the steamboats. In the foreground is the steamboat dock that was located close to the site of the present-day Interstate Bridge. From the late 1800s until 1910, there were about a dozen large steamboats that ran up and down the Pend Oreille River, providing transportation to hundreds of passengers and hauling mail and freight to a number of small communities. The first port was located at Albany's Poirier trading post in Idaho, near the site of present-day Albany Falls Dam. Later, a small community developed northwest of the trading post along the banks of the river and was called Newport, Idaho. In 1892, the Great Northern Railroad laid tracks into the area. The first depot in Idaho was a boxcar. When the small boxcar depot burned, the Great Northern decided to build a new depot a few hundred yards away in Washington. Meanwhile, in 1898, Charles and Warren Talmadge acquired 40 acres of land and platted a new community close to the railroad depot. By 1900, there were 200 residents in the new town, and Newport, Idaho was fading away. The United States Postmaster General issued an order requiring the post office to be moved from Idaho to the new community of Newport, Washington. In 1947, the Idaho community took the name of Old Town. We can see the mountains. This must have been really late in the year. There's snow on top of those. Or maybe really early in the year, like early springtime. Pretty cool though. So now we know the story about these two buildings here on the edge of there, which is neat. So we know that Kelly's has been there since 1894. And this is the first brick building in Newport. So that's cool. Always learn something from reading the billboards and stuff down here. I guess we can't walk further than this. But we'll walk to the end of here, get one last shot of the museum here. We'll have to make a return trip at some point up here and take a look at the museum. So, and this again was the IW&N depot, or otherwise known as the Milwaukee Roads Depot, when they took it over in I think it was like in the 50s, 60s. They had it until they had it up until they went bankrupt in the 80s. And now we can see there, you see that mural up there, 1898, Newport Centennial, 1998. They got, let's zoom in a little bit because it's kind of interesting. So you can see the match company there. The match company there, Diamond. So they used to be pretty prevalent up here because of the lumber. I guess there was nice lumber to make matches out of up here at one point. But I actually found the town of Diamond, where they used to have the match plant. It's like way out in the middle of nowhere, like up in the mountains. But they used to have a little town there where they were doing all the cutting, and they had like a mill and stuff there too. It's like way out in the middle of the forest. I found it like 5 or 6 years ago, but haven't been able to remember where the heck it is, because it's kind of an interesting place. But anyways, we can get a larger picture of this coreless steam engine here. That is pretty cool. Pretty cool stuff. So we can walk up the street here again and walk the opposite side of the street back up to where we started. That way, those of you that missed the first half of this can see the upper part, so you won't necessarily have to go back and watch the beginning of the video. So even though if you want to, you can watch from the beginning. And hey, while we're at it, go do me a favor and hit that like button, man. That'll help me share this with a lot of people that might like this stuff and come here and check it out for themselves. So yeah, I don't live too far from here, so it took me about an hour and some change to get over here. So not terribly far away. But yeah, I've been here a lot because gas is cheaper on the other side of the bridge from here. So we can see those buildings we passed earlier there. Real good from this side. We could take some peeks down the side streets here too, since we're here and didn't get to see it when I was walking across there. You see down the side street here, there's another cool old building there. No idea when it was built. Probably early. This whole block here on this side was probably built in the late 1900s there. Because the Reed building there, the blue one, there was built in 1907. So I'm sure it's somewhere in that time frame that they were probably building this whole block. Where? What I was just panning at? Down here? Is that what you were saying? I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, okay. I don't know. The jail is over yonder, like 4 or 5 blocks from us. The county courthouse. Again, you look at this side of the block here, pretty cool. Senior center here. I like the little brick facade there. Walking next to the bar. Here's the city hall. Get a better, a closer up picture of it. Pretty cool building. I'm gonna have to sit a sec here and readjust my socks because I'm getting some feedback from them. It doesn't feel too great. Oh, there we go. So this is the Martin building across from us there, 1909. Take a little spell for a second here. You see the time is currently 6:07. It's a cool one. That's cool. It actually says electric time, Medfield, Massachusetts, where it was built. That's cool. See down the side of the building here. There are some old looking houses all over the place in here. I believe it's up a street from us here, and you go back to the left over there. There is an old house with a historic placard on it. I don't remember what it said, but there's a lot of stuff around here to just wander around and check out. So if you're ever up in this area, just kind of come up here, spend an afternoon, just kind of wander around and check stuff out, because there's quite a bit to see up here. Here's our next block here. Which is pretty cool. You can see the Newport ambulance old place here. That's now it's like a classic car shop here. We saw that earlier. You guys can go back in the video if you want to see some old cars, because there's some cool ones in that place too. And of course, unfortunately, we can't go check them out because the place is closed. It'd be kind of cool place to check out. I might have to put that one on the list too for a return trip, because it looks pretty cool. Oh, we got a placard for the library. I guess this library is probably one of the newest buildings here. It was built in '84. There's the park where we started from. And we're now down towards the end of the block here. And we can turn around and take a look at most of the downtown here. It's pretty cool. But we can walk this way again too, a little bit more, since we didn't walk clear down on the other side. It's still out of commission. I haven't figured out where I'm going to take it. I did get a quote from one place that wanted $6,200 to slap a new one in there, and I was like, no, I'm not that independently wealthy. Oh. So I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get some Slick 50, or not Slick 50, but the Lucas stuff for transmission fix, and see if that maybe helps the problem at all, and maybe I can get a little bit more out of it until it, and be able to trade it in or whatnot. It might even be able to help me get by until if I want to keep it. I'm still not sure what I want to do, because that thing's been through a lot. 180,000 miles of me driving it all over the place. So here's the PUD building. Just your typical old brick building. I'm not sure if it's been here all this time, and maybe Brian, you can chime in if you remember this being here, because since you haven't been here in forever. But I'm not sure if this was modeled to be kind of like an old style building, but it does kind of look like it's got some oldie time features on it up there on the top. That brick up there kind of looks like it's weathered, so I would hazard to say that it may be correct time period wise. They got a business for sale across the street there. I think that used to be another pizza place there. Okay, so yeah, it is decently old then. I'm sure this was probably one of the original ones. I think that might actually also be the courthouse on one side of it. I'm not sure. I thought I saw police vehicles on the other side of there, so maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But we're now uptown pretty much here, almost back towards Highway 20. We got a hotel here. I think we're like right up on the corner here. Is that, no, I guess it's one more block to 20. Got an early head start here in an old looks like an old gas station or something there. There's a Mexican restaurant down here, and I can smell the Mexican already. Is that Mexican or is that something else? Yeah, I think that's Mexican. It has to be. It has to be coming from there. It kind of smells like barbecue, but I'm slightly confused. So we got one more block here, but we can kind of see it from here. There's nothing really notable down past over here. They are building some new buildings here. I think they're building a new health clinic there on the backside. I'm not quite sure, but we can kind of see the highway from there. You can see where everybody's kind of merging down there. You can see part of the Safeway. There's a Safeway down there, and you cross the bridge and it takes you to Idaho there. And down yonder there, past the blue building there, is Highway 20. You could take that up to Ione and the far obscure places north of here that are kind of cool to check out. If you haven't seen the Ione video, highly recommend you go check that one out, because that one was pretty cool. Some cool places up north to visit. If you go all the way to Medellin Falls from here, you can visit where the old movie The Postman was filmed, if any of you are familiar with that. But that's pretty much the tour of downtown here in Newport. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Trying to think, if you guys want to stick around, we can I can try to give you some more explores here. We can go explore around town, but that's going to be me trying to drive with one hand and showing you stuff. Or we can just end her here and call her good for the day. I don't know, if you guys got to let me know. You guys want to see some more stuff around here, or? We'll walk across the street anyhow, and we'll head back towards the car. Okay, well, we'll wander around and look at some stuff then. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but hopefully they'll figure out and put it out. Hopefully it's not another fire. Although, good news on that front, yesterday, or actually Friday, the rules changed for the majority of the state. I think everywhere except for the west side of the Cascades, the rules changed, and now campfires are now allowed again. So, some news on that front, if you guys haven't checked into the rules lately, but I wanted to have a campfire at my house, so in my fire pit outside. So I looked it up, and it is allowed now, as the IFPL rules say. Don't have the straight across slash on them anymore. It's the sideways slash now. So rule and permit are still banned, but campfires are now legal. Of course, don't take my word for it. Go and and check it out for yourself on the wherever, I forget what the page is, but check out the rules on the for yourself on the IFPL site. I really like this little water feature they got here. Oh, I guess weather update too while we're at it. I guess today is pretty much, I guess actually yesterday was pretty much the last 80-degree day of the year. So I hope you guys got to enjoy that, because I got to enjoy a little bit of it, but not very much, seeing as I get up kind of late in the afternoon these days, because dang swing shift schedule, I tell you, it messes with you. I don't know, guys, if you saw that, but there is a fire truck going down the road. So maybe, hopefully, if it is a fire, they put it out quick. Well, we're at the car here, so let me set you guys down so I can get the keys out. I work in Spokane doing inventory for a place that makes cardboard sorting folding machines, so it's a pretty boring job, kind of. I'm gonna turn you guys around again here. Huh. I still need to invest in one of those dash mounts for your phone, so I don't have to do this. It'd be nice if I could get a mount to just set it like right here in the gimbal. I'm sure somebody would probably make me something. It'd be nice and handy. Ding! All right, so this is extra bonus. If you guys want to stick around, we'll go for a drive here. But if you guys do decide to dip out, I appreciate you watching, and yeah, do all the fun things for me, all the YouTube fun things. All right, so I guess we can go. I guess we can go down. All right, thanks, Brian. We'll see you later. We can go down this little side street here, and I'll show you this historic house that's down yonder. So it's right here. This was the Phillips home. It was built in 1914. Somebody does live here, but it has a historic placard on it. I believe right up here is where the school's at, which is really cool looking too. We can take a gander. Driving into the sun with no visor is not very nice. Oh, I guess this is where the courthouse is. Okay. So it was actually up the road. So there is the Pend Oreille County Courthouse here in Newport. Driving into the light, can't see nothing. I think I found the school, at least one of them. Okay, so here is the middle school. They got a sizable middle school there. There's the baseball field there. Here's the elementary school. Not necessarily old or anything, but hey, if you were wondering what the schools look like up here. They got a nice little field here. And then we get to the back part up here, and this is where Newport's high school is. This looks like it might have been rebuilt in the 70s. It's got kind of that 70s vibe. Or maybe even 50s vibe. I'm not sure. I don't have any of the information on when like these were built at all, so I'm just kind of guessing. So that's all of Newport schools here. Now that we're not in the sunlight, we can see a little better. But we'll take a left. We'll take a left and go back kind of uptown. I've never explored this kind of fully, so kind of always I've driven around here a little bit, but haven't driven fully around here. Looks like they got a rodeo fairgrounds up here too. I'll show you that. It looks mildly old, or maybe it's just weathered, but we'll check it out anyway since we're here. I believe this one goes out of town and goes curlicue through the woods. I remember driving on one of these roads. They've got like a skate park here. You can see the rodeo grounds there. It's quite the rustic look to that rodeo house. I'm using this to turn around in. You can see the skate park here. Nobody's skating. Let's see if I can. Just short. Gotta reverse. Yeah, pretty cozy little town here. A lot of these houses look like they were built really early. A lot of old looking houses up on this side. seen another park. I think there's like three parks here. They got like an assisted living home there. Well, we're back where we started. Well, I'll take you guys over here and we'll take a look at some other stuff. We can go to the river and look at that. It's pretty cool over there. So this is 2 going east. We take this all the way over and we'll go to Sandpoint. Like I was saying earlier, there is a Safeway here. So you got some food options. There is a couple fast food places here. They've got they got a McDonald's and a Burger King here. And some mom and pops here pretty much everywhere else. So now we're crossing into Idaho. So here is where Old Town starts. We got a Dollar Tree right there on the Idaho side. Here's the river. We're crossing it right now. But we can go take a look at Rotary Park here at the river. And they do have a Super 1 here, right down there. Here's our turn for the park. They got a little coffee shop here. Got some more town information over there too. So this is actually like a boat launch too. That guy had an interesting motorcycle helmet on. All right, so we'll get out and we'll take a look at Rotary Park here. So there's where the bridge is there. Over here, there was some information, which we'll check that out. We might check that out here in a little bit. Looks like they got a little picnic area down here. And a fishing dock. So pretty cool. We can go down, walk down to the boat launch and take a look. I think we'll just go right over here. A really cool little fishing spot here. Right off beneath this bridge, which should be a pretty decent spot to fish. And this is the, I think they call this the International Bridge or whatever. But this goes across in between Washington and Idaho here. So we go back across there to the stoplight. We're in Washington, but right now we're in Idaho, so. Pretty cool. Beautiful sunset. It looks like there's like a little path over there that actually it looks like it goes down to the boat launch. That's what goes, walking path down there. Pretty cool. Pretty cool spot. There's like some buildings across the river from here. They look pretty old. I wonder if that's like a pump house over there across the way. Move it up so you guys can see it. And hey, Scott. It's all good. We've been live for almost 2 hours now. I think this is probably going to be one of the longest or actually, this is the longest I've ever been live for, so. We've been exploring Newport today. I'm sure you saw the title of the video, but that's where we are. We're actually now on the other side in Old Town, Idaho, which Newport, this side used to be technically named Newport, and now it's called Old Town, Idaho. They renamed it after the postmaster general made an order to move the post office from Idaho to Washington. down by where the railroad is. So you'll have to kind of watch earlier. Scroll back in the video or watch it from the beginning, because there's I already toured the whole entire downtown of Newport and stuff, so you'll have to check that out after we're done here. Yeah, it's a cool little place. I guess they actually have a walking path across this bridge here. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we get up on top of the bridge. Why not? We're here. We could go read some more. We can also go read some more information on the area, because they have it over here on the informational signs. We might just do that last. Because right now, this sunset's looking pretty nice. So we'll walk up to the bridge here. I haven't heard any popcorns or bagels, so we must have had a good stream today, so which I'm glad. Yeah, this is pretty cool. I've never actually walked across this bridge, so this is the first time I'm doing this too, so. So that way is north, and this is like southeast. So I guess technically that would make this northwest. Yeah, we kind of have some haze. There's been a few fires around in the area, but they've been kind of small. I don't think any of them have gone out of control yet. So I think we got most of the fires in the region are now under control. Oh look, somebody just caught a fish down there. Oh, she caught a good one. That's a big sucker too. Is that a sucker? No, that's not a sucker. Try to avoid the disco ball again. So there's your answer if the fishing's good here. She's just pulled a monster out of there. The water is so clear you could see like to the bottom. There's like bridge pillar stuff and all sorts of things like right below this bridge. I could see like a giant piece of metal there. We can walk more towards the middle. Come on. Well, it's not quite all the way out, but it's zoomed a little bit in, but it's not terrible. I can't get this all the way out just using my 2 fingers on this screen because the screen's like so sensitive it wants to return to zoom. And I don't have buttons because I had to take the back off to use it in the gimbal. I think right about where the pole is about halfway out here. See if we can still see to the bottom. Be kind of interesting. Yeah, you can still kind of see the bottom still from here. That is amazingly clear. Kind of crazy how clear that is. There's a old mill down there. I'm sure it's still in use. But that tower is pretty old. But we're a little bit closer to those buildings on the other side there. And it does kind of look like they're some kind of a power, like a pump house building there or something. So, interesting. It's too bad that there isn't a spot on this side, but I guess it is still Idaho over here too, so. It's like Idaho all the way until the stoplight up there. But anywho, we can go down and hit those billboards and see what they say. So up here is LeClaire Road, and this road runs like the length of the river all the way up to I think it's all the way to Ione, and then it ends in Ione. So this is like your alt trip up here. There's plenty of crossings to get back over onto Highway 20, but this has got some cool stuff on this side here on the LeClaire to check out. They got the Pioneer Park Campground, which is pretty neat. And then there's a whole bunch of roads that just take you out in the middle of the forest, and if you drive far enough on them, you'll end up like back over here on the other side of up by Priest Lake. But yeah, Pioneer Park campground's only 2 miles from here. But it's kind of something to check out if you're ever up in the area. It's a place to walk back down the rusty staircase here. And we'll go to the information center and see what kind of cool info they have there about the area. They have a bike route here too, so you can ride your bikes from up the road all the way over here, and probably down that little spur there towards the mill. I'm sure a few of these signs have route information about the area and things to check out while you're here. Looks like this one talks about David Thompson, who was from the trading company, Hudson Bay Company. So this does talk about him. He made some maps of the area here, and it says David Thompson was a fur trader, surveyor, map maker, and explorer for the Hudson Bay Company and later the Northwest Company. Between the years 1808 and 1812, Thompson spent much of his time in Pend Oreille and surrounding area and erected the first European structures in what are now the states of Montana, Idaho, and Washington. Together with surveying and mapping the entire main stem of the Columbia River and parts of the Kootenai, Clark Fork, Pend Oreille, Flathead, and Spokane rivers as well. Upon his arrival to the region in early 1808, Thompson surveyed and mapped the Kootenai River from Canal Flats, British Columbia, all the way through Montana to Idaho to Kootenai Lake, British Columbia, portaging around Kootenai Falls. He made many celestial observations for latitude and longitude while in the vicinity of present-day Bonners Ferry, Idaho. Thompson returned to the area in 1809 and established the Kalispell House on the Hope Peninsula in September of that year. In November, Thompson established another trading post called the Salish, I guess you would say Salish House, near present-day Thompson Falls, Montana, where he spent the winter. In 1810, he had his traders construct Spokane House near the mouth of the Little Spokane River. In 1811, he became the first person to travel, survey, and later map the Columbia River from its source near Invermere, British Columbia, to its mouth in Astoria, Oregon. Adding the Columbia River as the final leg of the fur trade highway from Hudson's Bay and Montreal to the Pacific Ocean. We got mosquitoes. This is going to be fun. Okay, where was I? From Montreal to the Pacific Ocean. He spent the winter of 1811 and 1812 at Salish House near Thompson Falls, then left for Montreal, Canada. He would never again cross to the west side of the Rocky Mountains. Between 1817 and 1826, Thompson reached the epitome of the surveying profession while serving as chief surveyor and astronomer for the British Commission to establish the international boundary between the United States and British possessions from the Lake of the Woods through the Great Lakes to the eastern townships of Quebec. The Columbia Plateau was basically unknown outside of its undefined boundaries and unmapped until David Thompson's time. He filled in the map from Lake Superior to the west coast. Thompson was well versed in the science of practical astronomy that used knowledge of the position and movement of certain astronomical bodies, the sun, the moon, moons of Jupiter, navigational planets, and the brighter fixed stars to locate one's position on the surface of the Earth. To accomplish this, he used a sextant, pocket chronometer, mercury-filled horizon, and astronomic tables to determine the latitude, distance north of the equator, and longitude, distance west of the Greenwich meridian, of key positions such as fur trade post sites, river mouths, mountain passes, and other topographical features. So it has a picture of the things that he was using. And then some maps showing the Kalispell House and Spokane House there. And a map drawn by David Thompson in 1823, which shows basically the same thing as this picture does. Pretty cool. Shows all of his other instruments he was using too. So that's pretty neat. So we got some information about the river, talking about the steamboat era. And then we got Frederick Blackwell and his railroad. It's a little bit dark, but we'll read it. The Pend Oreille Valley was the last frontier in Washington State to be settled, and for many years the Pend Oreille River was the main highway throughout Pend Oreille County. From 1887 to 1909, steamboats transported passengers, mail, and freight with regular stops at the dozen or so tiny communities along the river. So the steamboats would also make special stops for ranchers or small boat traffic when they were signaled. In 1907, mail was delivered by steamboat to 17 post offices 17 post offices between Newport and Medellin Falls. This was a vast improvement from earlier years when the residents of the Medellin area received their mail in Sandpoint, 120 miles upstream. Though not without perils, water travel was convenient, scenic, and clean, unlike the early roads where travel was marred by ruts and dust. The narrows at Box Canyon was a major obstacle for north-south travel, or north-south river travel, that is. In 1899, the U.S. government began working on the river to widen narrow channels and remove sandbars. In 1907, the treacherous channel at Box Canyon was blasted and cleared. Safe and reliable boat service from Newport north to Medellin Landing and Cars Landing at Medellin Falls opened up further development of the county. Talks about some of the steam engines, or the steamers. The Ione 175-foot wood stem wheeler was owned by the Idaho and Washington Northern Railroad Company and operated by Frederick Blackwell. The floating palace, as the Ione was called, graced the waters of the Pend Oreille River from 1908 to 1910, when it was laid up and finally dismantled in 1917. The Ione often carried between 450 to 500 passengers on Sunday excursions. The passengers would ride the train from Spokane and take the boat down the river to different communities. The round trip from Spokane to Ione or Box Canyon cost $5. The steamer had freight deck, passenger deck, ladies' parlor, dining room, and several staterooms. A band from Newport often entertained passengers on the trip. The steamboat Spokane was brought to the Pend Oreille River from Flathead Lake in Montana by Joe and Fred Cusick in 1904. The Spokane was 150 feet in length and boasted a 300-ton freight capacity, 16 staterooms, as well as quarters for the crew and captain. It had a licensed passenger capacity of 350 persons. From 1904 to 1909, it was used as a freight and mail boat as well as a passenger boat on the Pend Oreille. In 1909, the Spokane became the property of the Panhandle Lumber Company, where it was operated as a tugboat until it retired in 1919 or 1920. And then lastly, we have the Columbia, a 100-foot wood screw steamboat, was owned and operated by George H. Jones of Usk. Jones and his friend and riverboat competitor Joe Cusick both sponsored baseball teams. The Usk team was called the Usk Reds, and the Cusick team was called the Cusick Indians. The teams played each other on Sundays during the summer. Baseball was a huge attraction, and the games were such big events that steamboats ran special excursion trips from Newport so the citizens from the whole area could attend. The Medellin was owned and operated by Captain Napoleon Leclerc. It had a tubular boiler and a triple expansion engine placed near midship. The Medellin was retired in 1909. Sorry, I'm freaking getting some. My voice is getting raspy here. Since the river often froze over during the winter, river traffic was handicapped by ice. Consequently, there was pressure to build roads and a railroad line, which, when completed, dealt the death blow to the romantic days of steamboats on the Pend Oreille. Transportation by steamboat simply could not compete with the railroads. Many riverboats were converted to tugs and employed in the service of the lumber companies, whose operations lined the river. Last recorded steamboat on the Pend Oreille River ceased operations in October 21st, 1909. Ferries across the Pend Oreille River were located at Newport, Dulcana, Usk, Ruby, Ione, and Medellin Falls. They operated from approximately 1891 to 1927, depending on the location. Fees for the ferries varied, but were most commonly 25 cents for cars and wagons, 10 cents per passenger, and an extra 50 cents after 9 p.m. The ferryman was on duty 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Generally, the ferries were operated at the various locations until the bridges were built. And Frederick A. Blackwell and his railroad. This talks about him. He was born in Maine in 1852 and gained railroad and lumber experience as a young man in Pennsylvania. His sharp business sense earned him respected financial backing of wealthy Pennsylvania entrepreneurs. He came west at the turn of the century and built the Coeur d'Alene and Spokane Railway electric line. Investing heavily in timberlands, Blackwell's Panhandle Lumber Company owned 100,000 acres in northern Idaho by 1907. He needed a railroad to get the trees he would cut near Spirit Lake and in the Pend Oreille River Valley to a lumber mill. And on April 1st, 1907, Blackwell and his colleagues incorporated the Idaho and Washington Northern Railroad in the state of Idaho. By August 23rd, 1907, 28 miles of the 75-pound rails were laid. There were 2 coaches to Spokane and then rails that went to Clagstone, Idaho. In October, new rails were laid through Rathdrum, and it wasn't long until the village of Spirit Lake emerged. Spirit Lake became the new town site, and with 80 acres cleared for the mill, it gave great promise to the village. Just 6 months later, 27 million board feet of lumber was processed and hauled out. On December 12, 1907, the Spirit Lake Depot was open for business, and it wasn't long until it was declared one of the fanciest depots in America. Let's see if I can brighten this up for you guys so we can look at the pictures. And this is just maps of the area here. They have a map of the railroad also, of the old. I guess this actually shows the IW&N and when the Milwaukee Road took over. So Milwaukee Road owned this line here, which is in red. I don't know how well you could see it. They owned that line from 1914 to 1979, and then they turned it over to the Pend Oreille River route, which is POVA there. Lots of good stuff. Uh, there's a picture of the Blue Side Tunnel. So they have like one tunnel here on this route. But it's got pictures of all the stuff here. Doesn't really look like I can see stuff very well here. I guess you can see it decently. But pretty cool. We can walk over here and see what else we can learn today. My voice is about shot though. After 2 hours of live streaming. So this one talks about the Selkirk Loop, which is a cool drive. It takes you you can start from here and go all the way up through Sandpoint, through Bonners Ferry, and go all the way up into Canada and come across and back down into the U.S. at Medellin Falls here on this side, and drive this stretch all the way back down to Newport where we are. I've driven like most of this. I've driven about 3/4 of this on the American side, but I don't like going across the border because it's a little bit of a hassle. At least the last time I did it. But I think the only stretch that I haven't done is this little stretch here from Bonners Ferry to the border. But there's a sign here that talks about the Kalispel Indians and the Jesuit people that came up here. They've got somewhat of a mystery billboard here. Talks about a William Vane, a family man, gang boss, and justice of the peace who disappeared back in 1915. Interesting story to read there. Some more information about the Great Northern. I would read all this to you, but my voice is absolutely shot. So we'll take I'll take some pictures and show you guys, so you can read about it yourself here. I'm probably gonna wrap this up pretty quick. More railroad history stuff here, and some more stuff about the steamboat era here in the area. Pretty cool stuff. And look at that beautiful, beautiful sunset. Awesome. Well, guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. We've been live for 2 hours. 2.25 hours, man. What a live adventure today. I appreciate y'all for coming along today and joining me on this adventure. And go ahead and hit that like button for me. It'll help share this with people that might enjoy this, that haven't seen it yet. So help me out with that, please. And I thank you a lot for that. And guys, head on over to the merch store. Pick yourself up some merch. I'll have the link for you. You actually, I think if you click on my bio on the front page of the channel, you guys can get all the links and stuff for the socials and the merch store. So they did a recent update to YouTube and made those all clickable links now, so you guys can check that out. And as always, adventure on, my friends, and I will see you somewhere out here in the next one. Thanks a lot, and have a good night, guys. Thanks for stopping by, Scott. And I'll talk to you all later.